We're more than just podcasts and a radio station at Boise State Public Radio. We're a trusted resource and a lifeline for communities across Idaho. It's up to all of us to safeguard public media's future. You can learn more at protectmypublicmedia.org. Together, we can ensure that Boise State Public Radio remains a trusted resource for you and your neighbors for generations to come. It's The Connector from Boise State Public Radio, Idaho Daily News, 25 February. Happy Tuesday. I'm Troy Oppie. This morning, a new women's jail in the works in Canyon County. More details from Coeur D'Alene as charges were dropped against a woman removed from a GOP town hall over the weekend. Plus, health insurance companies could be required to cover enhanced breast cancer screening in Idaho. And tourism in the Sun Valley area rebounding after a scary September. Those stories and more right now. We start the morning, as we often do this time of year, at the State House. Idahoans might lose the chance to legalize marijuana or any other drug through a ballot initiative. That process would be blocked under a proposed constitutional amendment now headed for the State House floor. James Dawson explains.
Republican Representative Bruce Skogg's proposal would require 2/3 of the House and Senate to legalize any drug. He says the state needs to uphold its tough penalties for drug crimes.
Idaho has remained an island of sanity in a churning sea of great insanity around us in this nation, where other drugs have been legalized.
Skogg and other GOP legislators have long been worried out-of-state groups would legalize marijuana through a ballot initiative. That would be impossible under his proposed amendment. House Democratic Caucus Chair Todd Achilles said a 2/3 majority is too high of a bar to clear, and he says the measure would hurt those being treated for PTSD.
I think this will have a negative impact on medically proven techniques to treat veterans.
Constitutional amendments like this also need 2/3 approval from the House and Senate before it could go before voters in 2026. James Dawson, Boise State Public Radio News.
A bill requiring insurance companies to cover enhanced breast cancer screening cleared the State House yesterday. That would include imaging like an MRI. Republican Representative Dory Healy is one of the bill's co-sponsors.
The cost of this MRI is absolutely inexpensive compared to the cost of the mastectomies, the lumpectomies, the chemotherapy, the loss of a job, the loss of a loved one.
Cancer treatments can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars or more per patient. If signed into law, insurers would have to cover the extra screenings for high-risk patients. That includes people with a family history of breast cancer, those with a genetic predisposition to the disease, and those with dense breast tissue. State senators will take up the issue next. The CEO of one of Idaho's largest construction companies has resigned after video surfaced of him doing a Nazi salute at a company event last week. Engineered Structures Incorporated, better known as ESI Construction, says CEO and co-founder Thomas Hill resigned Monday, effective immediately. The resignation followed multiple statements from Hill released by the company, at first saying he made the gesture as a joke, a skit meant to mimic Elon Musk and President Trump's, quote, signature dance, and it meant nothing beyond parody. Then late Sunday, a second statement acknowledging the moment as harmful, rightfully generating, he said, quote, intense backlash which has overshadowed the mission of our company, unquote. Boise State University, which broke ground just last month on the new ESI Construction Management Program building, put out its own statement Monday condemning all acts of hate and specifically saying university leadership had spoken with ESI and, quote, we expect ESI to hold true to commitments they have made in the statement addressing the concerning incident, unquote. ESI says it will create a new task force to review workplace practices, including communications and events. Hill's resignation came after Boise State released its statement. More details and reaction now from Coeur D'Alene as reverberations continue from an incident at a GOP town hall this weekend where a woman was physically removed from the event for alleged disruption. A charge of misdemeanor battery for biting one of the men who removed her was dropped Monday. Kootenai County Sheriff Bob Norris first tried to eject the woman Saturday after he says she spoke out of turn, heckling the presenters. Norris, unsuccessful, then called for 3 unidentified men to finish the job, but said later he had no role in contracting or directing any aspect aspect of security for what he called a private event. The woman told the Coeur D'Alene Press she didn't know who was removing her, and they didn't identify themselves, so she bit one of them. After reviewing multiple videos of the incident and getting more information, prosecutors dropped the battery charge, and the city of Coeur D'Alene has now revoked the business license of Lear Asset Management, the private security company whose employees removed the woman because the men were not wearing attire identifying them as security, which is required in city code. CDApress.com reports Norris has remained firm in his stance that the removal played out as protocol dictated for the event, but no GOP officials have said who contracted Lear or set security policy for the town hall. Canyon County commissioners want to build a new women's jail. Sophia Blinkensop has more on the county's next steps.
Since 2019, county officials have leased mobile jail units, known as Pod 6, from a private company to house female inmates because of overcrowding issues at the county's primary holding facility. The Canyon County Sheriff's Office said in a press release that there were health and safety hazards like mold and insufficient insulation. There were also concerns about contraband getting into the facility. Canyon County Sheriff Kieran Donahue spoke at a commissioner meeting on Monday.
We've had to get rid of Pod 6 out of necessity, both operational, safety, security operation from our side, and cost to the taxpayers. We asked the county to end that lease.
The Commissioner Board terminated its contract with the company earlier this month. Instead, the board is proposing building a new women's jail on a 26-acre property in Caldwell. The proposed facility would have 192 beds, with plans for phased expansion. Sophia Blinkensop, Boise State Public Radio News.
Snowfall was light but tourism heavy in Sun Valley this January. That follows a scary month of September, which is typically slow, but this last September saw fewer visits thanks to the choke of wildfire smoke. The Mountain Express reports lodging reservations were down 17% from the previous September, but Ray Gadd, executive director of tourism promoter Visit Sun Valley, told Blaine County commissioners last week that January visits were up 7% from a year ago, and that helped rebound from a slow December as people seemed to want to wait for more snow before committing to a visit. A few large events and some additional advertising likely helped tourism, Gadd said. February bookings are looking better than a year ago, and March is looking up too, with the World Alpine Ski Championships event expected to drive a surge in visits to central Idaho. That's The Connector for Tuesday, February 25th. I'm Troy Oppie. The Boise State Public Radio News Director is Sasha Woodruff. Our Digital Strategy Manager is Lacey Daly. Tom Michael is the General Manager. Catch you again tomorrow. Make it a great day.
Each morning, it's a new opportunity, a chance to start fresh. Up First from NPR makes each morning an opportunity to learn and to understand. Choose to join the world every morning with Up First, a podcast that hands you everything going on across the globe and down the street, all in 15 minutes or less. Start your day informed and anew with Up First by subscribing wherever you get your podcasts.